All right. I think we're going. Yep, we're live. So, sorry for the wait, guys. Seems like I was having some technical difficulties with my setup. As you can see here, my Streamlabs is still not working, and not really sure what the cause of that is. But seems like I've got everything going. I thought I launched Visual Studio Code. Um, so let's go ahead and give it some time to load up. And we shall be going. So, I don't even know what this file is, but don't think I need it. So, like again, I was having some technical difficulties, so you guys are probably going to see some glitches through here, but it should be pretty smooth. And once like everything gets up and running, it's just taking a little time. So here, I'm just doing a sound check. Actually, I'm thinking about stopping the stream and then restarting it. Oh, right. So I just dropped the last stream and then picked it back up just to see if some of the problems I was having would go away. That doesn't seem to be the case. So, oh, there we go. Okay, Visual Studio Code is coming alive now. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Alright, so you guys can see me, you can hear me. Let's get to coding. So I guess while that's going, we got some other things to set up. So I was able to get my Linux subsystem working in my Windows, and I believe I went over that with you guys, so I don't have to dive into that. But over the weekend I did do some coding, so I should have some stuff to show you guys. So as soon as everything loads up, I can get that going. Jeez, I don't know what happened. Maybe I'm behind on an update. That's the only thing I can think of. So waiting for a terminal to come up. Things are taking some time. Usually this is the one that gives me the least problems. Seems like everything dislikes me today. So I'll get this terminal going here and see what happens. So this one always gives me trouble. So oh, look at that. This one's loading up. Okay, now everything's going. So I created some shortcuts. I think I showed you guys the other day. gedit, and then if you do tilde slash dot bash rc, so got that going, and then I can show you guys one little setup script. It's taking a second, so not quite sure how to do this one. I'm just gonna stop it. I'll try to show you guys another day when my computer's behaving. For now, let's just get right into it. So I got a short little script that I got there, and then I do one for Node.js. Actually, that's not the one. It's yeah, I think that is what I called it. What did I call it? Node.js? Nope. What did I call that thing? Oh, this is it though. Okay, so alright, I'm already here, so apparently, so I can just do npm run dev, and then that's going to start the backend server. And then now I need to come in and start the front end. We're going to do setup, and then we're going to do Angular. And then from here, once this loads, we're back to where we were, and then we can keep everything going. So again, some technical difficulties that are a little bit out of my hands here. Again, I probably just missed an update on my computer, so it's just giving me some crap to say, hey, you need to pick it up and update. So let's give that a second to run, and let's go up into not here, and apparently it doesn't want to close either. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go to our local host 4200, and it's not working yet because the script hasn't run. So I'm just gonna hit Control C in here, and that usually kicks it off sometimes for me. Hit it one more time. Alright, so it's just something going on with that process. So I'm just gonna clear it and then try it one more time. Wait, oh, I see. There we go. Alright, so we got something there. So is it npm start? Hopefully this will get us up and running. Just sometimes these things just take forever, and you never really know why. And I mean, the only thing you can think of is that maybe your computer resources, maybe there's like a background program running. So let me go ahead and check to see what's running. So I'm just gonna go ahead and close this Streamlabs thing. That's probably eating up a lot of resources there, slowing everything else down, and everything else is fine. So if I can imagine that if I stopped that and reran it, it would work. There we go. Maybe not. So this is gonna take some time to get that up and running. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to show you guys. So this is probably this weekend's work. Oh, never mind. I think I did save this weekend's work, so everything's up to date. So as of right now, this first post that we were creating here, this is where we create our post that, or for the blog, that is going to actually be rendered other places. So this is where it's going to get created. And some new things that I added in here was this populate options and this update category stuff. So what this stuff is going to do is this stuff is going to update. Oh, I can't even show you, but as of right now, you see that our categories here is an empty array, and I just had this category because it's an object, and it's a it has the object and the ID. Well, I'm sorry, it's an object that has the value, which is the string for string value for the category, and it has the ID for that category, and that's what the server is using, and this is what the server is actually sending. So by using that object, I can just send it back and make sure, and that way I still have that ID reference as opposed to the string reference, and it makes the lookup a little bit easier. So that's that. And so let me just go ahead and do this. The back end's running, so that's fine. So I'll just run the front end down here, and hopefully oh, I forgot to do cd app. So let me do CLS, and then do cd app npm start. Hopefully I get a better response here, because at this point I can't tell you what's so everything is having an issue here. So I'm gonna probably Oh, I know. I think I know what happened. The last time I shut down, I had a really well. Last time I shut down, I didn't actually like stop all my resources. I just shut this down. I'll call you back. So, where were we? Hmm. Trying to think. The last time I shut down, I didn't have everything closed out, so that might have been an issue. Just takes a second for me to figure this stuff out. Because at this point, it's just the resources. It's not like anything that I have control over. At least not that I know of. So, if we can't get this stuff running, this is not going to play out well. So, let's try to do something else. Let's close everything down. Let's close everything, even web browsers. And then I'm going to even shut down any background processes that I think are eating up a lot of space. So let's see if anything is like super CPU heavy. These are the active ones. These are background processes. This looks like a big one. I don't even see this stuff doing anything. So it seems like there's a node process running somewhere. I'm just gonna take a gamble and just stop it, and I'm gonna stop this one as well. And let's see if there's anything else in here that may be throwing a red flag. So I don't see anything here. So I'm not gonna mess with the Windows stuff. This right here seems like it's eating up a lot of stuff. I could stop it, but I don't know what it is, so I don't want to screw something up. So I think that's all we needed to stop. And oh, I'm using OBS Studio, so not gonna close that. So let's try this again, and we can see. Okay, so Visual Studio Code launched a whole lot faster this go round. Let's check out the Ubuntu shell. So this is working a little faster. So let's see, and there we go. So everything's working slightly faster. And then now I can do npm. Nope, sorry. I need to. What is that? I forget the shortcut that I created, and I think I need to start this thing up in order for my gedit to work. So I just want to take a look at the script that I created. Oh, too many C's. Take a look at this script that I created, and I think I need to do sudo gedit tilde slash dot bash rc, and there we go. So put the password in. Now we got stuff coming up. So from here, I just want to go ahead and grab those aliases that I created for launching the front and the back end. So okay, it is Node.js, and then the other one's Angular. So let's go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to just say Node.js, and that should run there. Cool, there we go. And then I'm just gonna make that smaller, and now I'm gonna go and open another one, and then I'm gonna do the same thing, set up, and then this time I'm gonna run Angular to get that running. So this is, like I said, it always takes a second, just because what happens with this right here is it has to compile all of the code, converting, I believe it converts the TypeScript code into JavaScript, and then it moves it over to the browser. Well, it makes it available so you can use it on the browser. So there's quite a bit more work going on this particular side, so you got to give it a little bit more time to get set up. Now, why it takes this much time is a little bit beyond me. So what I'm gonna do over here is, well, I just set that other screen up so I can look at stuff before I put it on the main screen. But this is really what we're waiting for. So, and I don't really have a workaround for this. It's either, well, I mean, I do, which is to build the whole project, and then every time we want to check something out, we have to rebuild and ship it, which is far from ideal. So, I'm gonna try to be a little patient with this, and try to find out see if I can find what's going on with this thing. So let me try something else, right? Only thing I can think is npx ng serve to go straight to the source. So let's see. Let's look into this, I guess, because this is a problem. So let's go ng serve hanging. ng serve. This takes so long. It's not what I wanted to hear. But I mean, it's possible that my computer's resources are being drained. So it's like, hey, I'm trying to serve, but resources are taken up. However, from the past few days, this thing's been running flawlessly, so I doubt that that's the core problem. There we go. Okay, so got something. Control C worked that time. Ish. Yep, there we go. Alright, so after years of waiting, we finally get this thing going. So this is one of those things, like, you know, don't really have control over it, but, you know, once it's going, it's going, right? So while that's going, I'm just going to go ahead and open up the port here, and it seems like they might load in at the same time. Yep, look at that. Perfect timing. Alright, cool. So, wait a minute. Something didn't load properly, and it's probably what I did with the toolbar. So, I didn't actually finish what I was doing with the toolbar. I changed it from a nav element to a toolbar element, just because Angular had some built-in stuff. So I wanted to take advantage of that, but I'll ignore it for now. So, what I really wanted to get into was here. So what I've done so far was I changed the layout here, that projects stuff what I was telling you about, where right here I can connect to the back end, create these categories and store them in the back end, and then attach them here. So this is where I can create something new. I can create this category, and then next time I drop down, this will be available to me in my categories thing. So that's perfect. And then I mean, that's really it, because I'll show you in a second if in the code. So what this where are we? Post, here we go. So we go to the post ts file. Right now categories is always default. Well, I could default it to an empty array, and then what happens is once you, where is it? I can't remember if I do it when I open. So let's go over here, and don't worry too much about this. It looks a lot more intimidating than it is. So right here we got new category, and we are actually, this isn't it. This is it here. So this is the drop down, and as soon as we open this thing, we populate the options. So I could have just make sure the open change thing was just like a one-way thing. So it's just like when you open and you close, it's going to do this, and it's fine for now. But just wanted to let you guys know that this is the functionality. So it's not perfect yet, but this is what is happening. So this is how we populate everything. I thought I had some entries in the database, so I'm just gonna check out Robo3T. Actually, I could have used Compass, but yeah, if I didn't see a loading spinner, so maybe I didn't click it. So I'm gonna check out Robo3T, well, MongoDB apparently, and see if anything's in that categories database. And but as of right now, this is the post. Everything's configured so that way we can upload images now. We've got images here that we can upload. We can hit that, and I got a check mark that pops up when you upload the image, so that way you know it's there. I could do something on the side to say, successfully uploaded, blah blah blah. But this is all I need for right now. I wrote it. I'm using it, so I don't really have to be as explicit. So I got text working here. This is going to be the description, and this is just going to be the little short description that you'll see. I'll probably end up making this box a little bit bigger later, but I'm just using, like I said, core functionality, MVP stuff that I need. Again, I'm the one that's going to be looking at this, so the aesthetics don't matter as much. I'm going to have to come back and fix these buttons because those are way off. And yeah, that's it. So right now we can actually go ahead and create posts. That's why I wanted to open up this the database, so that way we can see all the activity that's going on. So let's just give this a second to connect. And it seems like from what I saw last time when I opened up Node, it seemed like that actually had a problem with the yep. So I'm not sure what's happening here, but I remember anytime I've had these issues, the issue was always that something happened with the installation of the MongoDB that I had. So what I'm going to do is go to the control panel. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to do what we did previously, which is to use the repair option. I think I have to go to yeah. So we're going to search for MongoDB, and we're just going to click repair. So I'm just going to close that out, let it repair. And I don't know what happens exactly when you repair. I want to say the uninstalls or reinstalls or something like that, but it's hard to say for sure because I don't know. I'm just going to say yeah. I'm assuming it's this. Yeah, there we go. And while this updates, I guess I can talk about what the agenda was for today. The agenda for today was more so to fine-tune what I have here, meaning I wanted to just grab any errors. So as of right now, if we throw an error, we have no way of handling it, and everything just breaks down. But what I wanted it to do was say, okay, if I get an error, how are we going to handle it, and send that to the user so that the user is aware that there's an error going on. And in this particular case, it's going to be me, and say, okay, what is going on? So that way I know how to go fix it. So that was the real agenda. I wanted to actually get started with the projects as well, but I don't think I'll have enough time today, considering we've already lost so much already. So if I go here, hit connect, we shouldn't have a problem. Okay, perfect. So now we're in here. Posts has nothing, and post categories has 2 posts in here. So let me go ahead and check this out. Okay, perfect. So these things, seems like I'm having an issue then. Yep. So we're having some errors. Oh, because of the database being down. So what I have to do is I'm just going to stop this Node.js server, and then I'm just going to start it again. And Node.js hasn't been giving us any problems, so I'm just going to allow that to run. Boom. So if I was to reload this, we should get what we're, there we go. So now, oh, nope, we're still having some problems. Let's see what happened. 504. Error occurred while trying to proxy. Post categories. So I don't think I changed any of the text on that. So on the gateway timeouts. So let me refresh this thing one more time. Okay, there we go. So I think it was like a bad timing. I refreshed Node.js, and then as soon as I refreshed Angular, maybe it wasn't connected just yet. If that makes sense. But now everything's connected. So now these are the two categories that I had. So again, it makes a REST call right here as soon as you open this thing up to get these to populate. So now this is fine, and I just wanted to have a way to say, hey, let's say I was like, oh, I wanted to add a new one for like programming or web development, whatever. I wanted to have a way to dynamically do this and then have options that are already preset, so that way I can limit the amount of typos. And then also, if there's more than one, like, why would I want to type all this out every single time? I want to be able to just go ahead and grab these. So, and this is for blogs. Maybe I might do like a fitness blog, and I might want to categorize that in different ways. So that's pretty much what this is. And then, yeah, and fix the text area so that way it takes up more space. And this is, I mean, I can make it smaller, but I thought this was pretty good. It gives me a nice viewing angle, and I can see kind of the white space around the text as well. So I left that be. And just to demonstrate for you guys, I'll go ahead and create one. So let's just call it, and you'll see here that this and this are connected. So what's going to happen is going to say, this is the first post from Angular. And then this category is going to be under test. And then let's upload a cover image. And we might actually end up using these later. So let me grab a decent one. So image uploaded successfully. This is our first post. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys. This is the first post created using Angular, right? We don't have to do much. So we have all of the required fields set, and then now we can actually go ahead and save it. So I didn't do any extra processing or anything for when you save, because usually when you save something somewhere else, the page may change colors. There may be some kind of spinner or something that pops up, some kind of dialogue that just shows you that the action that you made, your action is being processed pretty much. So that's what this is here. Well, we don't have it, but this is what happens, right? So what happens is I created 3 different options for saving. One is saying, okay, if you just save, we're going to store it in the database, but we're not going to do anything to it. We're going to leave it in draft mode. If you schedule it, the only thing that's we're going to say, okay, once you put it in scheduled, it's going to say, okay, we're going to set the created at date, and that created at date that we indicated in our database is going to be how users are able to see what posts are available on the blog when they actually go. So that's what that is. And I really don't need to do any other kind of processing for that when I think about it in terms of like the status and draft, draft, pending, and published. I just did that because from a management standpoint, it's easier to see that, as opposed to seeing dates and you got to be like, oh, is this active? I set the date, but mental math, right? It's simple, but mental math. And then here with publish, same thing, right? It makes it active immediately. So let's just go ahead and hit the first option. It's saved. We don't see anything, but if we go over here back into the posts, we'll see it here. So I forgot it does this. So we're connected here where it's like an array of type category, right? So that's what's happening here. I kind of screwed up with that probably, but I can always change it later to fix it. This is date created at time, and this is in Universal Standard Time, so that's why it looks a little off. It's like tomorrow at 1 a.m. Um, here still set to draft, and you can see that that's done by default. If we were to do the same thing, and instead of saving it as regular, we save it as scheduled. What's gonna actually have to happen there is that we're gonna have another dialog that allows us to set the date and the time for when that's gonna happen. And I don't have that interface set up just yet, but when we look at the database, if we refresh, actually, there might have been a conflict because yep, we got a conflict. So I didn't, as of right now, I don't have any error handling, right? That's what we need, error handling. So if I were to go in and just change the category, keep it test, and then we'll say this is the first, I'll say the first scheduled, right? First scheduled post from Angular. Down, I should be able to save that. So, oh, I didn't mean to save. Let's go over here and refresh first, and let's delete it. And what I meant to do was scheduled. And you'll see over here in the database, the status is now pending, right? So the reason why I said a few seconds ago was this isn't done, because what happens is, let's say we do correct the date active. What's going to happen is there's no way to set that to change the status when this becomes active, at least not yet. So I'm thinking through the indexing. I might be able to have the indexing flip the switch. I'm not sure yet, but that's what's gonna have to happen. But if I do that, then I can see a few things happening. So I'm gonna have to think a little bit more about this one. Excuse me, but as of now, it does what it does, right? There's probably another way that I can actually have that set, and using the oh yeah, that is a way we can do this. So what I was thinking was like a pre-post kind of thing, where it's like, oh, every time it processes an image, a post, it will run through a check to see if the current date is greater than the active date. Meaning, like, yeah, that's probably the best way. So it's like today, tomorrow's greater than today. So if today is greater than, it's like, okay, this is not active. So that's like a kind of say on the fly kind of thought process, but that's what it takes to make these things happen. So now what's going to happen is, if you go and look at our actually, I don't want to open anything else, but the next step that's supposed to happen here is we're supposed to go over to the dashboard for posts, but we don't have that created. Actually, none of these buttons work. So let's start there and start digging with those buttons. So what we have now is the map toolbar, and then we have these list elements, and they're all map buttons. But for some reason, these buttons aren't working in the way that they're supposed to, at least from my perspective. And I'm thinking, I can't figure out what exactly is overriding it. So let me just hover over this, and I'm going to check to see if anything in here is setting that stuff. So for instance, and the only thing I'm doing here is I'm just playing around with stuff, because the background here, I believe, is supposed to be, no, the background is supposed to be white, and that's what's happening here. The matte toolbar is taking over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close something. I don't even know what it was. So right here we have our toolbar, and by default it seems like the toolbar is has stuff going on. So what we have to do here is we can adjust the color. So let's go ahead and do this. So what I want to say is I want the color to be white, or actually I might just set it to be the primary color just to keep everything consistent. So let's see here. Let's go. Matte. Oh, it's right here. And I'll just say color equals primary. This will give it a little pop of color on the UI side. So we're refreshing. So now we've got this, which, I mean, it works, right? It's consistent with what we had going so far. And then these buttons are bothering me. So let's go down. Image is fine. Here is where we're having our problems. So if we look and see where these buttons are coming from, let's go ahead and start pretty much unchecking boxes. Because we got the ordered list stuff that is overwritten. We don't need those. We don't want that. So nothing here in the nav is screwing with those. So let's go one level deeper, right? Let's look at this specific button. And let's figure out what's going on. So it's not this, not that. Let's check out this thing here. So this isn't bothering it. White space, line, nope. Display, nope. So none of this stuff is affecting it. Yet, we have this box around these buttons. So for that I am confused. So what I want to do is I just want to look back at the documentation here and see how they got these buttons in place. So in this particular case they used icons in the same way that you would do normally. So I guess they have these matte toolbar rows, but you should only need that if you have more than one toolbar row. So what I want to do is I want to look at the button now, because these buttons, and I probably didn't need to use this UL element. I probably could have just had everything normal, and let's just go ahead and take all this UL stuff off. And the UL is just for an ordered list. And the reason why I'm doing this is just to prevent any additional styling from being applied. I believe that I already have something on these things to keep them in line, so I'm not too worried about that. But let's see, I could be wrong. And that's why I'm making small changes at a time. Alright, so that didn't do anything about the buttons. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think what I needed to do was do matte. Actually, no, matte button should have been fine. Because if we go and look, matte button should just give you that text. So let me save this so we can get that back. And then go over here and go down to matte button. So basic button should look just like this, right? Yeah, so button, matte button, basic, cool. And this shouldn't affect anything. So let's figure out what's going on here. Oh, that's interesting. We have two. Alright, so these buttons are still not being buttons. It does have so the matte button stuff is showing. So let me verify that I have matte buttons, the matte button module in here. That could be the problem. Yep, I don't have the matte button module in here. Matte button module. I forgot to move that in, so I had to import it. I just deleted it here somehow. So now everything should go back to normal. Apparently not. Yeah, that's not sitting right with me. Okay, so we got the matte button module. Whatever. I'm trying to think what other module we might need for the raised button stuff. So let's go over here and check it out. Yeah, just map button module. So let's see what else we can figure out what's going on here. So we have the nav component, common module, map button module, map toolbar module, which sets that up nice. And then this module should be up in the app module here. Nav module, yep. So not sure what's holding that up, but it's definitely something like this, right? It's pretty much not interpreting the stuff that we said on this, and actually the color didn't come through. So the way I was applying the color previously on the nav is not happening anymore. Oh, I see. So I was trying to do it here, and it seems like it didn't work. So I guess I said, it's like, oh, I see. Get purple theme. And what I need to do is say, in this particular case, right, the color needs to be either purple or it needs to be white. So looking at the nav here, get purple theme, do this, return true, return false, right? So now we have our condition. So what I'm going to do is, instead of doing this, I'm just going to bind to the class itself to this, right? And I want to put a question mark here, turning this into a turn A operator, meaning it's going to do one of two things. If it's get purple, it's going to be purple, right? Your color's purple. And actually, I probably should just do, I want to say color here, but I feel like this is wrong. And then if it works, we'll use white. Right, that's really what we want. But let me check. Actually, I'm going to use a class just because I got color here. I need to do the same thing here. So I'll just use white. And then background color is going to be, I believe, white 0, 0. Nope, that's black. FFF. And the color here should be black, because you want white on black, well, black on white, and then white on purple. And there we go. And let me just change this back to class. It might need to be ng class. And what's going on? Okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and save that, and then take a look. So there we go. Now we're getting our stuff back. So go here. We get our white background. Everything's cool. We could change this purple, but you know, it's working the way I want it right now. So I'm gonna leave it alone. And I do want this part here to be centered, so I'm actually gonna add that in there, and I'm gonna add that padding too, like how everything else had. So let's go over to the post HTML. And right where up in here, I need to add something. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember adding it onto one of the other elements, and it was pretty much just to give it that map form spacing. There we go, that's it. And that just gives it that bottom spacing, so that way everything is equally spaced apart. And I also want to center this. Seems like that text align class didn't get set on this though. At least it didn't override the default behavior, because this was supposed to be centered. So let me go ahead and inspect this. And the text align class is there. However, because if I just go here and do text align center, oh, that should put it right there, and that's not happening. So let me check out this text align class. Oh, that'll do it. I had 2 semicolons. So I'm gonna refresh. Still not liking it. So what is the deal here? If I go in and set it directly, it works. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Oh wait, text center. What did I say? Text align. Yep, that's what happened. Centered. Boom. Now we should be good to go. Boom. There we go. So now no matter what we type in here, it's going to be centered. This is some really long text, but it shows up exactly like I want it. See, look at that. We've got everything going there. And I just like that because you can kind of just see how your title is going to look in text. And then there we go. This is working. So I'm pretty much satisfied with how this is working. If this didn't work, I would have a problem. You know, I want to see more stuff, but let's go and start to work on the save and then handling those errors. I'm picking that because I'm hoping that that's a little I'm hoping that that's easier because we don't have much time. So this is what I was looking for here. So you got a progress sprinter just to show that everything's kicking off, right? So there might be more examples of this. So oh, look at that. And then interesting. Determinate. Oh no, we don't know. Intermediate. We don't, because we don't know. We don't know how long these responses are going to take. So what we'll do is let's just grab one of these things, and it seemed like they're really simple to implement. So if we look at this one here, oh, that's easier than I thought. We just literally put this in here as a mat spinner, but we gotta know how to turn this thing off. So the progress spinner supports 2 modes. The mat is an alias for mat spinner, blah blah blah. Mat progress. Oh, I see. Okay, so determinant standard progressor 0 to 100%. The default mode is determinant. In this mode, the progress is set via the value property, which can be a whole number from 0 to 100. In intermediate mode, the value property is ignored. So it seems like if the default mode is determinate, I would have thought that here you would have had to set the mode, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. So we can actually test this out. What we're going to do is we're going to wait until we see that on save, and then what we do is we can call something that activates the spinner and lets us see it. I feel a little weird. Oh no, I know what to do. So this is what we'll do, right? We'll say, I'm sorry, post. We need to go up in the post and right next to the save button, because now we need to be right in between it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do I'm just going to do a div. And the reason why I'm doing a div is because I want to grab actually I want to grab all of this and nest them together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that class, and this time I want everything side by side, so I have to create something a little different. So I'm going to go back up to that global style here, and I'm going to copy the row alignment and just say column alignment. And column alignment is actually really simple. I think you just need to do display. I think by default the items are aligned to a certain way. Here I'm going to take that off too. And let's see, I think that's all. So if I go back over here and just say, oh, I didn't change the name, I'm going to just do column. Call dash, what is it, alignment. And I mean, if you use Bootstrap, there's a lot of these styling stuff patterns are covered for you. I just prefer to do it myself because I feel like I have more control. That's really it. When you get the predefined stuff, then you're stuck using it in the way that they implement it. I don't really like that. So that's why I just choose to do it on my own. And I feel for me right now, I feel like it's better that way because I'm understanding how the underlying CSS and stuff works. If I was, doing this for a job, if it was like work or something, then I might use those other libraries because, you want to, speed matters. Yeah, so, you kind of got to prioritize that kind of stuff. So what else? I think this is all I needed there. Oh no. I wanted to add that matte spinner in here, and the way that's going to happen is these elements are already aligned, right, as a column. Hopefully, now that I think about it, I hope it didn't screw up this. But we'll see. So we go here, and now we're going to say that matte spinner. Oops. Excuse me. Let me grab this. And say matte spinner. Oh, I see. Okay, so matte spinner just defaults it to the other mode, so we don't have to worry about setting it. And then we have to import this module so that way it'll work. So let me just grab this line here, and I need to put this into the module. And as you can see, this is a pretty dynamic process, right? You go into your module, you set what you need, and although in some places you might look at the code and say, oh well, why not just put all the module inputs into one place and then use those everywhere. But it's all about loading, right? The more stuff you have in your code, the longer it's going to take to load in terms of imports. And in this particular case, we're trying to save space by doing lazy loading. Well, not save space, we're trying to save the I guess space, like memory space, because we're loading smaller files as opposed to loading one big file all the time together. So as of right now, what I did was I just threw the spinner in there. I didn't do any handling, and that is huge. So and I just want to verify that I didn't screw up the menu stuff. Okay, cool. So all that's still working as normal. What I need to do now is I need to give this thing some space. So what I'm going to do is, I believe I might have a class for that. Nope, so let me create one. Actually, let me check the post stuff, and we might have it. Nah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create that. So I'm just going to say left margin, or margin left, whatever, right? And this is just going to give us some space. And I'm going to say margin, I guess this right. No, it's left, yeah. Margin left. And then we're just going to put 20 pixels is like my standard, so I'm going to go with that. And then I just need to add this onto that element. So just say class equals matte. No, I'm sorry. I just forgot that quick. Left margin. There we go. So left dash margin, and we're good. So now if I save that, we should see some space, and that's perfect, right? I do need to make that thing a little smaller. I don't want it as big. So I mean, well, there's a few things I can do, right? I can gray out the whole page and then just leave it there in the center. I'm trying to think about how to go about that. I would have to go to the top, really, and then find a way to have this thing come out on top of everything. So let's see how we can do that. Let's say Angular progress spinner overlay. I'll just say overlay and see what happens. How to display it is as a somewhat apparent overlay over the current view. Oh, look at that. I was inspired by overriding Angular material size and styling. Let's see what this thing does. So this makes sense to have that component for that. But my question is, how does it show on top of anything? Add it to the app module. Because I still want my stuff behind it. So now we get to check out somebody else's code and we get to see the implementation. So we can see if this is what we want to use or not. Spinner with backdrop. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for here. Yeah, let's check this out. So let's go into their progress. Oh, let's look at this overlay. So they created the module for it. Create overlay config, app overlay config. So this is where we get complex. So let's check it out. So set all that stuff here. Alright, let's look at the HTML. Button memories, button, show progress spinner. Okay, so these are the buttons that are controlling this. And then they just pulled in a component that just goes right over top of this. So I'm thinking I can probably cheat this. I'm thinking that if I put all this stuff in a div and then just let the progress spinner be in the middle of this, so you know, screw everything else, we can center it right on top of everything, no matter where it is. For instance, I had to go up here and I'll just create a div, and this will trigger while something's loading, right? And then when something's not loading, it'll just stop. So we need this div to hold everything, right? And then what'll happen is we'll go and we'll say let's say class, and then we're actually going to bind to this, right? And we'll just do class dot spinner dash overlay, and then that's going to be equal to I'll just say loading question mark, and then if it's true we'll say yeah, wait, if it's true we'll do it. I'm trying to think about this. Say angular conditional class. So let's see how this thing works. Oh wait, Adobe Creative Cloud took over. I always forget how this works. So we can directly pass true or false to add a class. Yeah, blah blah blah. Add a class based on multiple conditions. And for error class, only one condition we need to ask. So it seems like this is the one we want here. The individual class is based on certain conditions. So we'll say, oh, that's what we can do here, right? And I think we do need to use ng class for this. So we'll do, and I was trying to set a specific class on that. So let's just go and say ng class, and then we'll just say I'll just call it a loading class, just because I don't have another name for it. I'm not that creative right now. And then I need to do this like this with the brackets, and this will be where we put this here, and that'll be just loading, right? Question mark. Oh, nope. No expression. Actually, we'll just put this as is loading, right? Is loading. And pretty much whenever that is loading thing changes, then the class will change. So right now is loading doesn't exist, so that's where we're seeing this error for. So what I'll just go in here and say is loading is false. And now this is happy. And then now I'm going to go ahead and create that loading class. And then the only thing I'm going to do for right now is just go dot loading, and I'll say background color. What do they use? Oh man, I thought I had the overlay there. Timeout. Overlay service. Progress spinner. Diameter. So all that's being passed in some other way. So I'll probably have to look into this offline, but I'm just trying to get a quick implementation of what I'm trying to do. So let's say background overlay CSS, and I believe it's just changing the color, the background color, and then changing the opacity on it. Yeah, so that's it there. So we'll just say background color is going to be black, and then we need an opacity on this thing now. Opacity, I'll say 30%, just to get it going, and I need a way to trigger it. So what I'll say is when we save, where's save? We'll say this dot loading, this dot is loading equals true, and then we got to turn it off. So the way we're turning off is we're going to dot subscribe, and I think I'm doing something to this on the other side. So I won't be able to turn it off, but you'll at least be able to see what's going on. So we got this thing going fine, right? Once we click this, everything kind of, ooh, that's pretty nasty actually. So while we're here, let's go ahead and get this, let's fix this while we have it open. And what I need to go is a little higher here. Right now the color is black and the opacity is 30%. So let's drop this opacity down to like 10% or 2%. Nope, that's too much. Let's say 90. Well, that's way too much. Let's go 15%. Yeah, that's a little bit better, you know, but that's still quite a bit. 10%, super distorted. 5%. Let's go 3%, 1%. I think by doing the opacity too low, it hit everything. Instead of black, let's just make it some kind of white, but like not pure white. Yeah, there we go. So white is what we wanted, not black. And then we can just drop the opacity down now. 10% to, oh, I see. So let's go 87%. So that's almost perfectly clear. If we go 50%, now we get it, right? So we can use this right here. So background color is going to be white with a 50% opacity. And then we have to also activate the spinner when we do that, and we'll activate the spinner this way. So we'll say this right here. So now I no longer need to put this here. And actually, I don't need to do a few of the things I did here. So take that out, take this div out, take this, I think that, I don't need that. Take that out. And what I'll do is right here, I'll put it in. But what'll happen is I'm gonna do a ng container, I believe. So this way I just don't have to use a div because you know, if it's not there, I don't want it to take up any extra space. Oops. Voila. Oh, this is missing a closing tag. And then sorry, closing anchor. And this is going to be star ng if equals, and this is going to be is loading, right? That's the only time we're going to activate this. And then we want this to be centered. So I'm lazy, so I'm just going to do CSS centered. Now I was thinking if you just go margin auto, but I don't think that's the way there. Oh, yeah, that is it. So let's just go margin auto. And I'll leave it at left margin for right now, just because it'll be easier to change it. And I'll just say margin, and I'll just use auto and see what happens. So let's save both of these. So as expected, nothing is showing. Let's just click the save button, and we need to move this thing up. Let's see, what if we go to and we just say oh, the other class isn't on it. So let's just say centered. Say full center, really. You say page centered, right? Because it's centered on the entire page. So then we go copy C, Control C, we go over to our HTML, and we drop this class. Oh, we did have that class on it. Boom. And C, oops, we didn't save the whole thing. And I think what happened was this seems like it got nested into its own little div when I did this. See, it's like it's in its own div. Oh yeah. So it seems like it's separate from everything else. So this is the container here, I believe. So let's see if I can get this up in there. And actually, I'll just move it. I'll just move it to the top and see if that fixes it. Might be because it's not in the form as well. So let's try it. Let's try putting it right in the form. See if that changes anything. And like I said, this is just the lazy way that I'm doing it. It's probably a better way to do this. And I'm gonna. I didn't mean to get into all of that. I was really just hoping to see that class that I put on it, but oh, I think I went too deep. So this is what we want. Oh, geez, that is huge. Look at this thing. Let's see if we can figure out how to get this thing centered then. Because if it goes auto 0, that's not what we want. If we go 0 auto, I get centered there. And I think there's a way you can do like a vertical align, yeah. Vertical align. Alright, we're not getting anything out of that. And what I'm thinking we can do is probably just do position absolute. Position absolute. And then what I'll do is I'll say left 50%. I think, and then if I do, oh wait, that still didn't take, left 50%, and then bottom, Oops, that didn't go right. Left, auto. So now let's put a number on it. 500 pix. Boom. And then let's do the same thing here. Actually, I might need like 750. Let's do 750 pixels. Let's try top. Oop, I don't know where that thing just went. Oh, there it was. So now let's try 500 pixels, I guess. So now it's stuck behind stuff. So that's like a, I want to say it's like a good thing and a bad thing. So now we're getting into some territory that I'm not 100% familiar with. And let me copy. Oh, too late. So let's hit that save button. No, it's not going to work. And then we just go here. And I want that thing to sit on the screen. So let me try to find something else. Alright, let me try text align on that. I know what you guys are thinking, but sometimes text align works on images. I don't know why. But I need to go on this particular element. Let me try text align center. Nope. We want this page centered, so let me. This is centered horizontally and vertically. So they did. Oh, I see. So let's try that. So we're gonna do. Actually, is there one level up on this thing that I can get? Nope, this is it. I thought there was like the NG content that we'd be able to see. So we'll go here. We'll say position absolute. Oops. Position absolute. And then we'll say left 0, right 0, top 0, top 0, bottom, oh, oops, bottom 0. Oh, there we go. Seems like it's still cut off by that editor, so that editor is taking over a lot of space. I wonder if it's because well, it doesn't really matter, at least not right now. This is about as centered as I need, really. And then you can just go and icing on top of the cake is just go margin auto. It is, no matter what happens here, it'll just center it. See that? It doesn't even do anything. So we can just grab this and just use this. And then throw that right up in that page centered thing that we got. So let's go to the post component CSS. Page centered. Instead of this, we're going to paste in that stuff we just used. And yep. So now that we have that, we need to actually figure out how to turn this thing off. So in order to do that, I'm going to go over to the post service and check out what we did for when we saved. Wait, is this the post service? Yeah, here we go, save. I see, so we just want to return this response. So we're not going to subscribe to anything. We just want the response. And the reason why I didn't do anything here is because we're going to handle our errors in the page. Reason being, I want to trigger these. I want to trigger some errors on the screen to handle this, because right now when we get an error, it's just like you got an error, you're gonna get some funky stuff in your terminal. But if we have error handling, then we can do some other stuff. So I'm thinking we have a few options really. We can handle the errors here, or we can handle the errors in the actual TS file over here. Um, if I handle it here, we won't have as much control. Well, if we handle it here, we have more control of what we can do. So I'm gonna try to handle it here. So we're gonna subscribe to this thing, and this is gonna give us our response. And then we'll say, actually, I want to just console.log the response. Reason being is I want to see if we get the HTTP response code that comes with it. And we can just save all of this now. So let's just go ahead and check out the terminal. There we go. So we get the error. We get headers status. So what we want to do is we want to do response.status, right? So we'll say oh, I didn't even log anything out. So that was almost like pure luck. Is there console log in here? Nope. It's console log in here somewhere. Console.log. Ah, okay. This is where it came from. So here we're gonna say console.log response.status, because that's what we want. And here I can just type it as HTTP response, so that way we know that we have access to this. And then over here I need to manipulate how we did this response, because right now it said it's a category, but I mean, technically well, not technically, I mean it is that. Oh no, we have a response here, so I don't know why that returned weird. Response here, response object. So it's probably something going on with the object that we had here. No, that's because I didn't do this. There we go. And they just want me to put a space there. Wait, what? Generic type HTTP. Oh, and then this is going to be HTTP response of type response, I guess. I don't know. Including response type body. Generic type requires at least one type arguments. So when we're doing our post, we're getting our post object. So if we create that I don't feel like creating that, so I'm just going to try to do any. I'm just going to put any in there for right now, and then we can do more with it later. What? I'm going to put string in there. Alright, let me just do a regular response then. Okay, cool. So a little bit better. So now we can just return the status that we get. And the reason why I'm doing it piece by piece is because I just want to show how we're going to build this up. So now once we have access to the status, which didn't print out, one save console.log response.status, and there shouldn't be any other console logs, so that probably is what it is. And I think this just shows up either way, fail or not. Yeah. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So I need to do a few things. When I do this, everything gets disabled, and yeah. So getting bad request there. Okay. So we'll say response. We'll say is loading is true. We'll set it there, right? And then once we're done, we're going to stop. This dot is loading equals false, right? That's how we'll set it, turn it on and then turn it off. And then this dot post service dot save. I'm gonna save the post. We're gonna get the response, and I'm not gonna log anything there. I just want to see what happens. So we're still getting a printout somewhere, but you see here, it was pretty quick. We didn't even notice that the thing was logging. So now let's just say console.log response, and right now we're not getting anything. Nothing's showing up in the terminal, and I think it's because of what I did to this response here. So I'm just gonna pull that out and then try it again. Yeah, I don't know there. So that should have done it, because we're getting those responses either way. There's no more logging in here, you know, there's no. So I'll pick this one back up tomorrow, because it seems like we got quite a bit of stuff to dig into. Excuse me, I'll leave it the way it is right now, because this is where we'll pick up from. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry, I wasn't able to cover as much as I intended to. Just seems like technical difficulties won the battle today, and you know, hopefully tomorrow's a little bit more smooth. So have a good evening, and see you guys tomorrow.